you know, I buy it all the time. But I am short in the market right now, and I will stay short on paper until the trend itself changes.
I want to just, before we talk the metals briefly, I want to get back to your point about your thoughts on a market crash. Just a timeline of how far you think that is. I mean, do you see that happening this year? Is it next year? And what kind of a crash are you seeing? Are you talking a 50%, 80%, 90%? Just
I
get
think
your
we're
ideas.
looking at 50 to 60%. Timing it, there's no way I could time it, right? You have an election coming up that could create a potential bounce rally out of this, but the damage that's being done is not going to be fixed by an election. You might get an initial reaction depending on how it goes, but I would say within the next 12 to 18 months, I think we'll be 50 to 60% lower than we are now. Okay. I think that you've got some dramatic problems in this country. You don't have your supply chain is not delivering goods, so companies are not going to be able to make their earnings. They can't sell enough. You're already seeing layoffs at major corporations. The jobs number we just got last Friday was a bunch of BS. Okay, all it is. It's people working more than one job to try to live and survive. So at the end of the day, right now these markets look like they're on a beeline to go lower, and I would say that 50 to 60% within the next 12 to 18 months would be realistic. Now, could it be this year? Listen, anything can happen, but I think anytime you have a major event in play, which is the election, that will have some effect before, and it may hold it up or it could collapse it right then, and that's what I think we'll see.
Let's wrap with your thoughts, your latest thoughts on gold, silver, and platinum, which you say are absolutely ugly.
They are.
Okay,
Are absolutely.
what's going on with the metals, Baba?
They're ugly. You know what? Right now, you have people selling assets, okay, and a lot of gold and silver to support other positions, okay, because of the overwhelming pressure on markets, on housing, and other things. And I think you're just kind of in a spiral lower, okay, at the moment. Now, I think if you look at it logically, I think there's probably a great buying opportunity for a future investment, right? Again, you have to remember if you're trading or if you're investing. Okay, I think buying physical metals and not paper. Paper is garbage, in my opinion. Okay, paper is for trading and for goofing around. But for investing, you want to own the real thing because I don't think there's enough gold to cover the paper that's out there, right? So I think this is a time you start nibbling. But again, remember you have to buy it with money that you're not going to need tomorrow. Because if you're forced to sell or forced to liquidate at some point, it's not going to be the price you're going to want to sell it at. And you're going to sell it at a loss versus having the ability to hold. Listen, I think gold and silver are great. And as you know, I buy it all the time. But I am short in the market right now, and I will stay short on paper until the trend itself changes. And right now, since August 12th, I don't think we've seen an update until today since August 12th. And we continue every rally gets sold hard, and you can say it's the banks, it's the manipulation, it's whatever. Well, you can go whatever you want. It takes two sides to make a market. Right now, it wants to go lower.
Most would just say, Bub, it's the strength of the US dollar, plain and simple.
I disagree. I think the US dollar is worthless. I think the number is just a number, but it buys a heck of a lot less than it bought before. So why would it's more of a supply demand issue, not a US dollar issue. I hate when we start talking about the dollar compared to the correlation because the overall correlation is skewed, number one, and number two, it doesn't have to happen today.
Sorry, to that point, right? Supply demand. When I speak to my friends at the bullion dealers, and you look at the premiums on, for example, silver products, which are very high right now, it obviously shows demand is there for these products. People are buying gold and silver, platinum, palladium. They're buying. The consumer is there.
Not enough, not big enough. Remember, what drives markets is price discovery. What drives markets is markets go higher when there's a bigger demand or the buyers are being more aggressive to buy. And when the sellers are being more aggressive, which happens to be the case right now, it goes lower. Okay, there's more sellers that are willing to meet the buying demand, and premium that is put in for a reason because they may have a crew. Give me a gigantic silver and bullion dealer and tell me what their premiums are and what their sales are, and I can give you a better idea. But when you look at the overall market itself,
Yeah.
okay, it gets driven by more aggressive buyers or sellers, and right now the sellers are much more aggressive.
All right. Todd, before I let you go, most folks are back at work this week. We're restarting. We're heading into the fall. We're gearing up. Bring it home for us. Final thoughts as we, we're all back to school in a sense here.
I think we got another couple of days right after this weekend. We should start to see some business come back. It's still been pretty quiet. This past week has been quiet. And I think that we'll start to see some more business. I think you'll start to see more selling pressure show up. I think a lot of the big money is looking to sell, and they're trying to let the retail investor buy. And I think that's been the MO of most recent history. And I think we're going to see some big sellers come in. You might see a bump around the election, but we'll see how the election is going to look, right? There's a lot of talk going on, and of course it's all rhetoric, so it's hard to really say. But the big concern is going to be food, and I think that could cause the biggest problem because we're not going to have enough production, and you take Russia out of the equation, that creates a big problem.